So now for the point work, as I mentioned before, I'm going to start checking the alarm point for liver, which is liver 13. It's the second to last rib at the very end margin of the rib. He doesn't seem particularly bothered by this. And typically for him, it's that alarm point isn't sensitive. So since that means it's probably more of a meridian issue than an actual liver organ issue, I will look to maybe start with byway as one of my first points. Point of 100 meetings. And this one, sometimes I do the typical crossed fingers, but I also like to use the thumb on this one. It seems pretty powerful a lot of times. And for me, I'm using very, very light pressure at first. I'm watching him for signs of releasing. He's doing a lot of blinking. And I just wait for a release, or if I feel the acupressure point respond, then I will also make a judgment call too. But typically I like to kind of see how the horse is reacting to the point. If I lose touch with the, good boy. So now he's licking and chewing. He let out a really nice sigh. So that's a good one for him. I've got in the habit of, after a point, just kind of moving through it with my hands. I think I remember Amy at one point talked about doing that through the whole meridian when you're finished. And then another point would be I would probably do gallbladder 34 as the influential point for tendons and ligaments. And I always have my mother hand, the non-working hand, somewhere on the horse's body. I know Romeo obviously well, but if it was a horse that I didn't know so well, I might have 3 points of contact. I might have my arm and my leg or something, just in case there was a kick out. And again, I'm using very, very light pressure here. He tends to be a little more sensitive. This is the side where the issue is. And if I happen to lose contact with the feeling in the point, I might just vary the pressure of my thumb and move down into the point a little lower, just to see if I can feel that connection again, which I was able to do right there. And he's lowering his head, and he's got kind of a twitchy mouth. He's doing a lot of blinking, and there he's licking and chewing. So from here, I would move on to bladder 40, which is the master point for the hind end, and it's just off to the popliteal fossa. And this one, I used the thumb for the previous two, but this one, I'm using the crossed fingers. And again, just very, very light pressure. And he's blinking. I try to watch my breathing. So sometimes I notice if I'm holding my breath, there's almost a block, and sometimes they don't release. So I have to watch my breathing and stay focused on what I'm feeling and not allow myself to get distracted by other thoughts. Still blinking. Now, if I wasn't on video, I would continue to wait because he's showing signs that he's going to release. But because we're on video, I'll just assume that he's released and then move on to the next point. And then the next point that I would work for him would be liver 3. And liver 3 is on the medial aspect of the hind leg. Just job. And there's a lick and chew. Good job, buddy. And that's, those are the points that I have selected for him based on the bladder association points, and then just in general what he typically needs. I did this on one side, and so if this wasn't a regular session, I would do the same thing on the other side. Thank you.